So this is in No More Heroes. Well, while I did want to get to that game, I couldn't get it out in time, and I didn't even get Kingdom Hearts out in time, and since it's Halloween, although stores might tell you otherwise, this month means monsters and demons, things that go bump in the night. While horror is not my preferred genre, I still appreciate it, so I decided to look at a monster-themed series, Castlevania. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm the only YouTuber personality to dedicate a month to Castlevania. Now, where you got people like The Nerd and Some Call Me Johnny, I actually found out about the Castlevania scene thanks to the likes of Dwayne and Brando, which they introduced me to a few other gaming franchises. But we're here to talk about this game. I figured no better place to start than with the first Castlevania on the NES. So let's get this out of the way. Castlevania is an NES game developed by Konami, who are famous for Metal Gear, Contra, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Yeah, you forget that's there, huh? Despite what's going on now with Konami, Castlevania is a cornerstone of the original NES lineup, even being included in the NES Classic. So when I first experienced this game, it was due to an emulator back in high school, and it's no secret this game is hard. And I mean rage-inducing hard. This NES Classic is a hell of a game to get through, and one of the most difficult games to beat, and by that I mean the enemy placement, the level construction, and the control. This game suffers from a curse that plagued many games from the classic era of gaming: knockback. In platformers, if you get hit, you fall back and most of the time into a bottomless pit. Now, normally I talk about this game's story, but seeing as how the instruction manual only tells you that you're here to slay Dracula, and that he comes back every 100 years, what you really need to know is that it's a Belmont's duty along with their whip, the vampire killer, to kill and slay monsters. Honestly, it did its job well, and as the game series goes on, I have been told that more story will get added on. So for right now, Dracula has an army and Belmont killed him because they scary. So armed with a whip and a stake, let's get cracking with Castlevania. You play as Simon Belmont, and you're tasked with killing Dracula and his army of monsters and ghouls in this game. The game takes place entirely inside the castle, and it's a hell of a castle too. You have set pieces like an underground cavern, a dungeon, a clock tower, and the tower itself, which from what I know about the classic series, these areas you'll see a lot of, but at the time this game was probably pretty scary when you got games like these.
I wanna get this freaking duck away from me!
So to get through this game, you complete the levels, kill the boss, rinse and repeat till you get to Dracula. Simple enough. You're armed with the whip, which if you whip these candles, you can upgrade it to a chain whip, which according to lore happens because the user can unlock its true potential. Yeah, let's go with that. But this whip is awesome. It's so satisfying to kill enemies with this thing. You can only whip in front of you, and you can jump and whip at the same time, but when Simon makes a jump, he commits to his jump. You can't control your midair movement, so you gotta be careful of how you move yourself throughout this game. Dracula also hides weapons inside these candles too, cause who would think to look there, I guess? I mean, he's right, who thinks to look inside candles? Belmonts, that's who. The sub-weapons in here, you got the dagger, which I never really use. You can throw it straight, and to be honest, your whip is better than the dagger will ever be. The axe I only found useful a handful of times to deal with this boss that becomes a regular enemy later, and if there was an enemy on the staircase above. The cross, named the boomerang in the States, cause separation of church and gaming, I guess. Well, it does work like a boomerang, and usually my preferred sub-weapon of choice. You do have the stopwatch that makes it easy to get past enemies and stops everything on screen, but it costs a lot of ammo. The holy water, named the firebomb in the States, again, no religion, that can deal out a lot of lasting damage, and it only costs 1 bit of ammo. It's a little slow for my taste, but with the help of the double and triple shot, it does make things a whole lot easier. You know, as long as you don't die and lose all your power-ups. If you're using your sub-weapon a lot, ammo running out can be a problem, which you can find more inside these candlesticks as hearts? What in the hell? Yeah, Dracula keeps hearts and the Belmonts use it as ammunition, which most of the time, hearts like in Zelda refills your health, so what refills your health? Oh, cool, I broke the wall and a pork chop with a bone sticking out of it? Okay, I guess, so if you're careful or you just know where to look, you can break the walls and get health. I mean, if you die, you can continue where you left off, you just lose all those precious points. Oh, I don't know if I showcased how much you die in this game. Well, Most enemies in the game are irritating, whether moving sporadically or teamed up with others to make it near impossible for dodging. The game does reward you for playing well and staying alive, but the minute you mess up, starting back with nothing is a pain, but there is usually a handful of Dracula's novelty candles that just so happen to help you get back in working order. But this game is probably going to put your reflexes and critical thinking to the test, so you can't just bum rush through the game and kill things like that, but you can't take your time or you'll be overwhelmed really quickly. What is nice about this game is that even though you have some tanky enemies, you can actually whip some projectiles and they will get destroyed, which is nice. The only real annoying enemies I found were the birds, because they're big and they can drop off other enemies. Which they're only really annoying because of the staircases. Due to the NES's limited control, you can't really use your sub-weapon on these things because you press up and the attack button at the same time. But if you're on the staircase, you can't press up and attack because you're climbing the stairs. You can't jump off them either, and I can sometimes get it to work, but most of the time you just... Bosses are pretty challenging. You got Frankenstein's monster and Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
You know, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I'm a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I could help you with that hump.
What hump?
You got the Medusa heads and the mummies, then you have Death himself. That's right, Death listens to Dracula. Well, at least when he's not messing around in hotels.
Come on now, throw away all them worries. Forget about them.
No joke though, his boss fight is tough and you need to spam to get through it. But it really is satisfying killing a boss with your own skills that was giving you troubles. That mentality of just one more try to keep pushing you forward. It's the reason why I like games like Cuphead. Finally you make it to Dracula, and just pro tip, right before you get to him, go up and down the staircase, grinding the hearts out of the candles, and then go for Dracula. When he first shows up, you can get him into a pattern for the most part, and whip him in the face. Then when you knock his head off, he evolves into that. And then you spam the holy water and the whip, keeping him in just enough to... BAM! Thus putting an end to Castlevania. You watch as the castle crumbles and Konami tries to meme before memeing was a thing, with their end credits making puns on actors and writers of the horror genre. BAM! Overall, this game is still as fun and frustrating as I remember, and the music is one of my favorite old school video game music, and I can see why the likes of Dwayne and Brando chose it for their EPs. Like I said, you can get this game on the NES Classic for a more realistic feel, or you can get it digitally on the platform of your choice, since Konami just released a collection for only $20. Which, if you have any interest in just the Castlevania series, I haven't heard anything bad about this version, so hey, give it a chance if you're up for it. Just know that your skills will be put to the test. Next time I'll be looking at some more Castlevania goodness, so the next game in the lineup, which actually the Netflix series is based off of, is Castlevania... I guess I have to do it, huh? Next time we meet is for Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.